Thank you for joining me on this fish hunt. Basically what we intend to do is find out what fish are still alive in my Blackwater nano tank. Now this tank should contain 5 cootie loaches, 3 glass catfish, 3 glow light tetras and maybe even fish fry. Now the glow light tetras are easy enough to see, but the other fish are nocturnal and very shy. I haven't actually seen the cootie loaches for the best part of 2 months, and if you've kept loaches yourself, you'll know what I mean. At least one of the glass catfish has been sighted during the last few weeks. Now I will remove some of these leaves just to minimise the number of hiding places for the loaches, and as this is going to be a nighttime hunt, we'll have to go high tech. Well, perhaps I should call it low tech, as we're using a cheap entry-level IP camera. But it does have infrared vision, which means it can see in the dark, it can pan and tilt remotely, and transmit via Wi-Fi. It's not waterproof, but we're not putting it in the tank, so that shouldn't be a problem. These little cameras are really handy to have around the house. With suitable weather protection, you can put them outside to have a nose at the nesting birds, or to see what little critters are moving around your pond, or even to see what big critters are moving around your house. I put this little camera under our house every so often. It enables me to see whether there are any rats or mice present. This is mainly because in the past we did have a problem with them, as our neighbouring properties had macadamia trees and the nuts provided a big food source. During the cooler months they wanted to stay with us and share all of their tails. As you can see, the night vision works really well, plus the ability to adjust the camera angle will be good when trying to watch fish. With this little prowler on the loose, rodents are no longer a problem. Don't move! Wow, that was close. It almost saw you. Well, the gear is all set up, and we just have to wait until nightfall. So let's just take this opportunity to have a look at the terrain that we'll be hunting in. Although I call this a Blackwater tank, I could equally describe it as a river tank, as it represents a little snapshot of a river system. Now running diagonally from this corner through to this corner, I've got driftwood, which forms a barrier, and this creates the river bed, which is this area here. It has various types of litter, leaf litter mainly, a few branches and seeds, and this is a good scavenging area for the cootie loaches. Now on this upper level, it's filled in to create a terrace, and I've got crypt growing there, and the leaves provide good cover for the glass catfish during the day. Now they'll hide under these leaves, and if I'm lucky I might catch a glimpse of one of them during the day, but they are really difficult to see, mainly because of the dense vegetation. So let's just have a think about where the other fish are located. Now the glow lights prefer to hang out in this area in the front. They can probably see me coming if I'm going to feed them, plus it gives them plenty of shelter with the Java fern over the top of them. Okay, now I know I've got 3 glow lights here. Can you find them? One of course is right in the front here. You've probably picked out that one. What about the other 2? Well, there's one here And what about number 3? Oh, it's up here. As you see, the colours tend to blend in with the landscape. But let's go and consider what the other fish like to do and where they hang out. As I mentioned, the glass catfish tend to sleep during the day in this area at the back of the tank where they're well hidden, offering them plenty of protection. And at night they'll come out and feed from the top of the water, or they'll feed from the water column itself. They will come down in this area here. In fact, they'll go to all parts of the tank, but I've never seen them feeding off the bottom as such. I don't think that's their normal habitat. Now, as for the coolie loaches, and under this piece of bark, there are various caves and caverns where they hide. The main entry seems to be on this ramp area here, because when I observed them in the evening, they would come out and either go up to the top or work their way down to the bottom. There is a smaller caved system under here where the smaller coolie loaches would hide. This black object on the right hand side of the tank is an LED light. Now when the tank lights go off, this LED comes on and gives a sequence of sunset type colours for about 2 hours, gradually fading out into the blackness of the room. When taking film or photos of an aquarium, normally you position your camera so you're not going to get your reflection coming back into the final image. Now I've had to do the same with this camera, as the infrared light was reflecting off the glass. So now it should bounce away and hopefully you'll get a clear image. And the hunt begins. Okay, we've got a time check. It's 10:04 PM. The room lights are off and the infrared on the camera has kicked into action. So let's just start rolling. Now already I can see that we've got a glow light here, some activity in the back, and just be aware at the back here you have whatever it is, and over on the side is a reflection, so you have to be aware of that. And I would think you probably might get the same from the top of the water. Now that is not a glow light and it's not a coolie loach. So we have definite confirmation that we've got at least one glass catfish. So down here we have got a tetra, and just note the orientation of this tetra. Its head is down. Now I've got a theory on this because I've noticed this quite often when they're sleeping. I think that they face the current of water, and it might be a backflow around somewhere here, but they face the current of water, and as the water passes over the body, over the back of the fish, it's going to push the fish down and forward because it's basically near a 45-degree angle. That means it can maintain its position in the water much easier. That's my theory, don't know whether it works. Now the water flow at the moment is very low. I do change this quite often just to give the fish variety, so I quite often have a higher setting which would increase turbidity, and I might increase the amount of aeration and bubbles in the water. At the moment the aeration is quite low, if anything at all. Now just jumped ahead to 10:43 PM, and you'll notice that things are fairly quiet. There's still activity from the glass catfish. Looks like I can see 2 glow lights and they're not doing much. It's very hard to tell if there are any coolie loaches there because the leaves are moving around, but certainly doesn't appear to be anything on the bottom. Now, can you see what I see? Is that a coolie loach? look near the centre of the tank. Now, it might have been my imagination. Just in this area here. No, I think I might be dreaming. Oh, no, there we go. Or is that a fish? Or is it a leaf? Is it gone, or will it come back out? Ah, there we go. Confirmation. We have cootie loaches. Well, one. And did you notice something about it? Even though you saw its head, its eye didn't light up. So the other fish have sort of a cat's eye which shines in the dark, in the infrared. But the cootie loach, unless it's blind, did not shine. So it's a bit like a human eye. Well, well, well. We'll jump ahead, I think. Okay, it's around midnight, and there's still plenty of activity in that tank. Glow lights, sound asleep, one at least. No sign of any cootie loaches, but we might just pan forward. That other light near the bottom, that's probably the second glow light. Glass catfish still at it. No movement on the bottom. No more sign of that cootie loach. Perhaps there is only one in the tank. "6 AM and all is well. No loach activity. It will be sunrise very shortly. Room's starting to lighten up. Glow lights are moving around a bit more. No cootie loaches, and the glass catfish have gone to bed. Well, we'll have another attempt. Currently the sunset lights are on, so we'll just scroll forward a bit. Around 8 o'clock the lights from the other tanks in the room will go off, and the infrared should cut in. Right, the other lights are off. Just waiting on the infrared. Glow light 1, 2, 3. I'm pretty sure it's the glass catfish in there, and the other two still to come out. No activity in the bottom. Well, there does appear to be some activity there. 1:05, and even over here. We're getting nowhere at the moment, so we'll move the camera and put it on the side of the tank. It's going to be too close, so it will be out of focus, but hopefully it might give us a close-up or better view of what activity there is. Right, yep, pretty blurry. Let's just move forward. Oh, there we go. And again. So it's just coming out of its cover to forage for food. And it's midnight. And 1 o'clock. Still only appears to be the one. Three o'clock. Still at it. 4. Oh, let's just go back and have another look at that. So, we've got 2. But how many fish should there be? Okay guys, count the loaches. This was filmed about 3 months ago after a water change. They either took exception to the quality of the water, or maybe I'd bumped the driftwood under which they hide, and that could have caused stones and pebbles to collapse into it, making for a rapid evacuation. How's the counting going? I should actually have 5 loaches. I'd purchased one about 2.5 years ago, a further 2 years ago, but unfortunately one of those had died. Earlier this year I got 3 smaller ones, so that would give a total of 5. But like you, I can only count 4, 2 large ones and 2 small ones. So we'll need to do some forensics to find out how many we really do have currently. Probably the best way is to use fingerprints to identify them. Unfortunately, I don't have a fingerprint kit. And the fish fingers have all been eaten. But what they do have is a very distinctive marking. Now I suspect that the pattern is actually unique to each fish, and I should be able to use that to identify them. From observation, the coloration appears to repeat on the other side of it, although I don't know whether this is always the case. As you see, I've given up on the infrared light, it's just not clear enough, and I'm using other lights dimmed down, and hopefully that won't scare them off. I've also been putting some food out in this area to attract them. In the past I'd feed them pellets and things, but they just generally didn't go for that food. Maybe because they would only just scavenge in the immediate area of the safety of their little cave entrance, which is on the hill to the right. So it's in a good position for a screenshot, so let's go for it. So here we go. This is its head, and here you can see its pectoral fin. Above its pectoral fin it's got this distinctive mark which I refer to as a saddle shape. Then we've got a wide band and then a narrow band. Then we've got wide and a slightly V-shaped wide band and so on. So here the saddle, wide band, narrow band, wide band, slightly V-shaped and so on. Now if the fish is curved towards us, these would contract and would appear different size, just as if it was bending away from us, they would appear wider. And there could be different patination along the top, and along the bottom is normally fairly clear, as you can see here. I'll call this one K3. So what I've done is I've gone through this video and where I can I've taken a snapshot of each loach and I've given a reference name. So we'll just carry on through now. It's about half an hour later before the next lot of action, which is around 10ish. And hiding in the wings we've got K5. And there is a second one there, and I'm not too sure which one that is. This one here is K4. Skipped a frame there, but that was K2. Now in this shot we've got K3, K4 and K5. And so it continued. Well, it's midnight and so far we've found 4 different loaches, and the 5th made an appearance around 2:30 in the morning, so we'll just go and find that. This one here. So I've called this one K1. I believe it's the largest that I've got, and it's almost 10 centimetres long. I present to you in high definition 24-bit colour 5 fuzzy fish. Well, they are clear enough to make out their distinctive shapes. K1 has got that saddle shape with saddlebags, I suppose. It's a bit on the wide side. K2, it looks like a teardrop and it's got a saddle shape. K3 we talked about earlier. K4, what's that? Looks like a tooth, a molar. And K5, well, it's old spotty. It's great that I've got the full quota of fish, very happy about that, but this little exercise has demonstrated that if I want to be able to see them, then I have to be prepared to view them late at night and with subdued lighting. Or maybe I could use the camera again, which would then enable me just to preview the actual activity whenever it might occur. Now I'm actually quite happy with the habitat that I've established for these fish. I think it's suited to them. It provides their own shelter and they can live their lives in their own time. Although, as I said, I might have to adapt my viewing to suit. But if you're keeping, say, the loaches, then you could do the same as me, or you might want to just have, just say, one cave that you can see into from a certain position. That would then still give them some security. But if you just provide a sort of a lift-up shell where they all scramble once you lift it to see them, then I think they're going to be pretty well stressed out, and I don't think you'll get the best value from those fish. It's very similar with the glass catfish. They clearly only like to come out late at night, but if you've got a tank where you can see them, then obviously you can see and enjoy them. As far as stocking levels go, I think that this size tank can accommodate this number quite happily, as they all produce a very low biomass. Now, I had intended to move the glass catfish to my larger community tank once they got a little bigger. This will give them more space to swim. But their swimming nature is a little bit different from other fish. They will swim in a short burst, so this tank can accommodate that quite nicely. And they have the ability just to keep their position in a strong current, as they do during the day. In any event, these are things I need to think about, as I want to keep the fish in as natural environment as possible. Well, the time has come for me to thank you for participating in this great fish hunt. I hope you've enjoyed it. Bye for now.